I've been managing engineers for a long time. I think I became a manager first in 2005. So I've been managing engineers for 15 years. In that entire time, there's never been a day when I couldn't have added another engineer to my team and been happy. So I think we're in a perpetual state of skills shortage in the engineering profession. So anything that you can do to optimize engineering productivity is generally a net win for your business. Currently, I run a company here in Santa Monica, California called Dolt Hub. We have 11 people, 9 of which are engineers. We could definitely add another 9 engineers and be happy. That's probably not going to happen in the short run. In our experience, it takes about a month to hire a junior engineer and about 3 months to hire a mid to senior engineer. I'm sure, and I think we're pretty good at it. I'm sure some of you have different experiences with hiring. So what this means is that I think you're going to be in a perpetual talent shortage when it comes to engineers. And so you should always be looking for process optimizations to make your engineers efficient so that they can get more done. One of the things we like to look for in our organization when it comes to efficiencies is where do our senior engineers spend their time? Because the senior engineers tend to be the people that have the most leverage. So my co-founder, Aaron, he ends up being the person that is in charge of infrastructure because he knows it the best. We trust him the most to make changes, but he also ends up being one of our best developers, the person who can write the best source code. He works on our SQL optimizer, the most complex code in our enterprise. And I'm sure this is a familiar problem for a lot of you in your enterprise. You see your senior engineer doing most of the operations because you trust them the most not to break things. We here at Dolt Hub want to get your senior engineer out of operating your database. Operating on your database tends to be a very dangerous operation. It's high blast radius. If you make a mistake, generally your application or potentially even your whole company is down while you work to repair it. And so you always want your most senior engineer kind of at least overseeing it, if not doing it themselves. We do that. We have that same policy here. The other problem with this situation is what happens if that person leaves. That tends to be a big danger for and a big risk for your software development organization. The person that is most senior, most trusted, is also the greatest risk of attrition because they're getting emails, texts, phone calls from recruiters at least weekly, if not daily. Your senior engineers are your best employees. Your competitors know that. They're always trying to get them to switch jobs. As we're all in a skill shortage, we're all looking for the best talent. If a senior engineer leaves, you're in a bad situation. Not only do you need to find a replacement, you may also be in a situation where you can no longer do some of the tasks that the senior engineer was doing, like deploy to production, operate your database, debug your database. So you will hire a replacement. That person is new. You'll have to train them up, and because they're new and you're training them, they're also at risk of attrition. And you kind of get into this vicious cycle situation where if you're not able to retain your senior talent, you're kind of constantly in a chase situation where you're always trying to find someone to do these jobs. And so our solution is to make jobs that only senior engineers can do, something that every developer can do. And I think that's what we've tried to do at Dolt Hub, is make our infrastructure easy to operate and deploy so that anyone can do it. And that frees up our senior developers to do other tasks that are high leverage, but also creative and inspiring and interesting, and not necessarily doing operations and deployment. That tends to be a little bit repetitive, but also risky. And so that tends to be the reason that senior developers are required to work on that. So how do you tell if you're at risk of having a senior engineer leave? You need to look at what that senior engineer spends their time on. Are they spending a lot of time doing monotonous tasks like deployment or operations? Or are they spending time writing software, doing things that you would like to do if you were when you were an engineer, or if you weren't an engineer? Engineers tend to like to be writing and shipping code. Another thing that you should pay attention to is how much time are your senior developers spending mentoring and developing and growing other engineers on the team? Are they passing off these deployment-related tasks or operations-related tasks to junior employees? Specifically related to databases, is anyone in your organization able to make a database change? Is anyone in your organization able to debug a database change? You can look at permissions. Who has permissions to make a raw SQL connection to your database? Is it only the senior developers, or can everyone in the organization do that? You need the right database technology to be able to get to a world where everyone in the organization feels comfortable with read and write access to the database, because these are dangerous operations that can really hurt your company. And so if you're only entrusting that to senior engineers, you have to look at your risk of what happens if that person or those people leave. How many of those people do you have? How am I mitigating that risk? And you can mitigate that risk by making more senior engineers, which is a tough problem, takes many years, or you can adopt a new technology, which tends to be an easier solution. And that's why we've built Dolt Hub. If you would like more information about Dolt or Dolt Hub, check out the link below. You can always email me at tim@dolthub.com. We're still early enough where I get to be Tim at. I like that. We also have a Discord. It's linked in the banner of dolthub.com. Feel free to hit us up there. The team's always hanging out there and is happy to chat at any time.